Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day today. Before we get started with today's video, I want to thank everybody. We're at 19,900 subscribers. Actually, it's 19,991. We're 9 away from 20,000. And I do have a big announcement coming next week when we hit 20,000, so please stay tuned. Also, I want to remind everybody that you can become a member right here on eBuzz Central for just 99 cents a month. The MVP, VIP, and Pro versions are actually starting to get weeded out, and all those perks will transfer over to the 99-cent level. It's a great way to support the content you like, and of course, a great way to support the channel. I also want to say thank you to all the people that have become members over the last year. You don't know what that means to me. And if you haven't had a chance to catch my previous 4 videos, there's a lot of great information in there. Linux distros tracking you. Check that one out. Linux Geeks, perfect distro. That's Calculate Linux. It's based on Gentoo. And then Microsoft's open source theft could cost them $9 billion. You definitely need to check that out. That covers AI and theft of code on GitHub. And then, of course, the Linux distro that's better than Manjaro, CachyOS. It's a great Arch distro. Now, if I took a poll and asked most of you out there, what would it take for Linux to actually finally have the year of the Linux desktop? I would probably get a lot of different information. Stability, being able to run Windows programs on it, this and that and the other. What I'm going to cover today is what I believe is going to be the key to making Linux more friendly for new people to want to switch. I'm not going to cover applications because 99.9% of the applications you got on Windows, there are other applications out there that are open source that you can use on Linux to get the job done. So if you ask me that question, what do I think the key is? Honestly, I think this next distro has nailed it on the head, and I hope you all agree with me. And the distro I'm speaking of is Nitrux Linux. Now, Nitrux has been a very interesting distribution I've looked at over the last 18 months. They've done different things here and there to change things up. But I think this release definitely brings stability to a Linux distro like never before. I know we get a lot of people out there that they try Linux and then they'll start messing around or they'll start installing things on it. And the next thing you know, it's broke and they don't want to talk about it anymore. They just want to get away from it and they just want to go back to Windows because they don't have to worry about Windows systems breaking. Well, blue screens of death have been pretty much weeded out by Windows. But what do you do if you want to go to Linux and have that same stability, have that same feel safe moment that once you get it set up, you don't have to worry about breaking it? I think Nitrux delivers that, and I think it delivers it in spades. So what we're going to do now is this was just released. I'm going to go over and we're going to look at the release announcement because there's a lot of great information in here, and I'm going to go over it rather quickly. I know some of the viewers out there say they hate it when I go through the website, but I'm doing what most of you all will do. If you're investigating a Linux distribution, you'll go over and check out the website, find out what it's about. And I like to do this because sometimes people don't look at the release announcements. So it just says, today is the day. Nitrux 2.60 FF is available. And it's going to have a lot of different things we're going to talk about. Right out of the box, it comes with the 6.1.0-2.1 Liquorix kernel. Now, what is the Liquorix kernel, you may ask? Well, the Liquorix kernel is a distro kernel replacement built using the best configuration and kernel sources for the desktop, multimedia, and gaming workloads. It includes the Zen interactive tuning, which tunes the kernel for responsiveness at the cost of throughput and power usage. It also comes with the PDS process scheduler, which is a fair process scheduler for gaming, multimedia, and real-time loads, high-resolution scheduling, which is 1,000 Hz tick rate for precise low-jitter task scheduling, and it comes with preemptible tree-based hierarchical RCU, which is implementation for real-time systems, and then a hard kernel preemption, which is the most aggressive kernel preemption before requiring real-time patches, budget fair queue, which is a proper disk scheduler, TCBBR2 congestion control. It's a fast control that maximizes throughput, guaranteeing higher speeds than cubic. Compressed swap. The swap storage is compressed with LZ4 using ZSwap. Multi-generational LRU, which is an alternative LRU algorithm. Binary builds for popular Debian distros, which is Debian stable, testing, unstable, Ubuntu, Linux PPA, same day within hours updates, and distribution kernel drop-in replacement, proper distribution style configuration, supporting the broadest selection of hardware. And it's already in there. So that's what the Nitrux kernel is. Now, if we get back over to the announcement, it shows you things that have been updated. KDE Plasma 5.264 is used. Firefox 10.0.1 is used. They've updated the Mesa, and they've added Pipewire and Wayland by default. Now, it is important that if you're using an NVIDIA GPU that you check the KDE wiki instructions to use the Plasma Wayland session. And if you look right here, you just click on that, and it will take you right over and show you how to take care of all that. It's right there in the release notes, and it makes it easy for you. Now, when you log in, you're going to hear a pop sound. This is not a bug. It is a test to ensure that Pipewire is working. Now, you can replace that noise with any sound that you want, and it tells you the directory right here that you can replace that with. They've enabled FlatHub by default. They've added Samba. Here's where I think they're making the stability of Linux #1 priority. They've set the state of the root directory to be immutable using overlay root. Now, you may ask, why would they do this? Well, this change allows them to provide new versions of the distribution with a higher degree of certainty that no changes have occurred to the root that might cause a conflict down the line, and also to avoid sudden issues from upgraded packages coming from a different origin than our repository, which we have minimal way of controlling. So basically what they're saying is they're going to give you this system. The root system is going to install and update itself, but other than that, there won't be programs sharing dependencies across the operating system. So you're going to have your system set up, you're going to have everything locked down, and then the applications that you install on it will not interfere with that root system. And they want you to check detailed and updated instructions and notes to perform distribution upgrades. They got a link right here for that. They've updated their settings in Calamares to do the following. Calamares now creates a custom layout when selecting the option Erase Disk. This layout is intended to accommodate the new update process. And the layout assigns a partition size and percentages. 20% for root, 60% for home, 10% for 2 partitions, which will be your Flatpak and applications library. Do note that because of how Calamares works, it will allow you to select the replace partition option if you have a partition with enough space that meets the size requirement. They've also added Pulse Audio Equalizer, and they got a picture of it right here. And they've updated the default overview in Plasma to show the list of processes instead of applications, as the latter only works with systemd, and thus it does not work in Nitrux. And they've added packages with debug symbols for the following software, which is Kwin and LatteDoc. And they've fixed or closed following issues in the distributions. They've fixed the Calamares launcher on the desktop live session. They've moved to Pipewire number 37. Touchpad gestures not working in live session, and moved to Wayland. Those are all taken care of. They've removed the following components from the distribution. Now, those with keen eyes might notice that they're calling this version FF. But what does that mean? It stands for Forbidden Fruit, and it's the first time they've ever used a code name on the distribution. The peculiar choice of the code name is because this version of the distribution can be seen as an antithesis to the conventional Linux distribution, where a distribution is entirely devoted to its package manager. Across several different distributions, we got package managers everywhere. And sometimes you run into issues when you download and add things to your system that could break it. They've got rid of that. It works to drive the point home that in this distribution, app images are the preferred method of adding new application, and where an app image is unavailable, they have the Flatpak option available. Admittedly, before everybody starts hitting stop on this video or running over towards Nitrux with their torches, be mindful that users can still use a package manager. In fact, users can use any package manager to install new software, just not directly in the root directory. To do this, you're going to use DistroBox. And what they do is you come over here and click, and they give you a great tutorial on how to install DistroBox right on your system, and then how to install software using DistroBox. I think this is completely and utterly perfect. What you don't want is to get your system set up and then have some willy-nilly application you download break your system. We all have went through it. We have all had that issue. By keeping the apps in their own containers and away from the root directory, you're bringing stability directly to your Linux distro. Thumbs up twice to Nitrux for doing this. So let's go back. Now, users can use a container of any Linux distribution once you get DistroBox set up. Arch, Fedora, Debian, OpenSUSE, Nix OS, Gentoo, and whatever packages you want to use out there. Once you have DistroBox set up, it doesn't matter what distro is supported by those packages, this distribution will run it. DistroBox also allows users to export software that uses a desktop launcher so that it's automatically integrated into the application menu, even picking up the artwork from the host, like application themes and icons. Because DistroBox is considerably easy to use and intuitively transparent to the user, there are no plans to add a wrapper to use it. And then you come back down here. Future releases of the minimal ISO with JWM are discontinued, as it did not meet the expectations they had set forward. And again, before marching down with torches in anger, this change does not mean that users cannot install other desktop environments in Nitrux. Please check their tutorial for an update. You've got a tutorial right here for that. They put everything plain and simple, and they tell you how to use something. If you want to use it, they give you instructions on how to use it. This is perfect. I've known distributions in the past that have said, we're not doing this anymore, and you just can't do it. And we had to go online and search Google or DuckDuckGo and find out, how do we get this application, or how do we use this package? You don't have to worry about that anymore. They're telling you it's not in the distribution, but if you want to use it, here's the instructions on how to do it. And then download your ISO, FOSS, Torrent, SourceForge, and OSDN mirror. And then down here, known issues, notes, report bugs, changelog history, resources, and posted release announcements. So what we're going to do now that I've went over that is we're going to zip on over to the Nitrux desktop. And this is it right here. Now, this didn't come out of the box with this wallpaper. I changed it because I know a lot of people don't like their default wallpaper, so I didn't even want to hear my comments blowing up about that. But here is what the desktop looks like. And the first thing I want to do is let's go over to settings, and I want to verify some information here. So let's go down to About System. And yes, it is KDE Plasma 5.26.4, and there's your kernel, the 6.1.0-2.1- Liquorix AMD64. So you've got the Liquorix kernel out of the box. And as you can see, you've got your global menu up here. So you've got settings here for your settings, and then system settings. Let's go ahead and minimize that back down. And then you could just make it big. And it's got the old layout. Now, if you wanted the different classic KDE layout, you can go with that if you want to. Or you can switch to icon view. I'm going to leave it in icon view because that's how they want it out of the box. But you've got your base settings right here. So you're running a strong kernel. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And if you come down here, you've got your configure button. You can click on that and it brings up your different desktops. Or you can do a search right here for anything that you want. There's GIMP. You could go online and create images, or you can get it in the software center. You can get BleachBit. So that's just something that you can do there. And then you've got your app menu right here, which you've got quite a few beautiful apps. You've got the Agenda app, which is your calendar app, which is a very beautiful app. And what I do want to point out here is let's go over to Bonsai. You can open or clone an existing repository with Bonsai, but I just want you to look at the beauty of all of these applications across it. I love the way they all go together, and they just go with the consistency of the flow that they're using. And then you've got your global up here. And one thing I do like about it, if you click on that, I love the animation where it drops it forward, behind. I love that. And let's go ahead and close out of that. And let's close out of that. Come back down here. You've got Clip, which is for your movies. You got Index, which is your file manager. And I love the layout of this file manager. I have a lot of people that sometimes say they dislike it. They don't like the way it looks. They wish they had everything listed over here as opposed to icons. But what I generally do is I just come up here and click on the Nitrux button, and it gives me all my layouts right here. I can click on Nitrux. It brings me over to my home folder. Go back up here. You can go to Documents. And nothing in here. You can place documents in there if you want to. pictures. So you've got a quick way to get where you need to go and a quick way to get what you need to get done. Now, I do like here, 7 January 2023. It shows you that there's 31 days in January. And then videos, music, documents. So you've got your usual suspects right here. So let's go ahead and close out of that. Now I want to drop down here. We just looked at the file manager. This right here will be their package manager. Let's go ahead and open that up. And right now, let's go ahead and maximize that. I do love the layout of this store. Now remember, everything in here is going to be app images. And pretty much everything that I've looked for, I've found. Let's go ahead and look for GIMP. And as you can see, GIMP pops up right there. Let's go ahead and see if they've got Krita. And there's Krita right there. I had some people in previous videos say, hey, could you stop looking for GIMP and do a search for something like Krita? And of course, let's look for Kdenlive. So as you can see, most of the applications that you're going to be using are going to be easy to find, and they're going to be easy to install, and they're going to not mess up your root directory. They're not going to install something that could possibly crash your system. So that's a quick look at their store. So let's back up here. Down here, you also have Maui apps, which is their shell that they're creating for mobile devices. So that way you're going to be able to have tablets that have something like the Maui shell with Nitrux on them, and phones with Maui shell with Nitrux on them. It's going to make things cross over a lot easier. And then down here, you've got newest popular games. You've got game emulators, OpenRA, and then most popular, Ungoogled Chromium, OBS screen recorder. So you've got a lot of different things down here, and that's going to be one of the first things I install when I put this on my backup laptop is Stacer. I just love that. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of their software center. Then you've got Firefox. Then you have Nota, which is your text editor. You can come in here and edit any text that you want to. And then down here, you open that up. That's for playing your music. That's for playing your videos. And like I say, they look really good across the board. And even there, they kind of swap. I like that. So that's impressive. I do like the animations that they got going on right there. System settings, we've already looked at. And like I said, you can switch that over if you want to. Let's come back over here. Let's go ahead and go back into our apps. You've got your NVIDIA server. If you've got an NVIDIA card, it will detect it in here. And then, of course, you can go over and adjust your settings in NVIDIA server. Now, remember, to set it up with Wayland, they've got instructions right there on their website on how to do that. Let's come back down here. KDE Partition Manager, KCalc, install itch.io, install Steam, install Nitrux. And they've got a customized version of the Calamares installer. As you can see, welcome, location, keyboard, users, partition, summary, and install. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you've installed any Linux distro before, you know those steps. Let's close out of that. Yes, I do. And let's come back up top. And then you've got install bottles. If you want to do that, your NX Software Center we looked at. Nitro Share is the easy way to share between different computers and electronic devices. And as you can see, it's up here. They've got instructions on how to use that on their site as well. Or we can come over here and exit and just shut it off. Picks for your pictures, Pulse Audio Equalizer. Let's open that up. And there it is right there. Got a nice looking look to it. Let's go down here and you can adjust it if you want to. But I'm not using a microphone in here right now, so that shouldn't be an issue. Come back down. Shelf, which is a nice document editor. It's quick document editor because this doesn't come with an Office suite, but you can download one. That's not an issue at all. You've got Spectacle for screenshots, V-Wave we looked at, CPU settings, and then, of course, your system monitor. Let's pull that up. And as you can see down here, you've got Latte Dock, Plasma Shell, KWin, and then you've got application processes, and then I/O, GPU utilities, and then, of course, your overview. Let's go ahead and close out of that. And then you have Strike. So I'm going to back out of this. And I'm just going to tell you, everybody, this is a solid Debian distro. It's running a Liquorix updated kernel. What more could you ask for? The stability of Debian, a powerful kernel to help with multimedia and gaming, a lockdown root directory that will not be affected by any applications or any changes that you want to try to make. But at the same time, giving you open access to run a solid, lightning-fast Linux operating system. Nitrux Linux. Zip on over. I'll make sure the link is below so you can download it and take it for a test drive. Throw it on a USB. Open it up in a virtual machine. Heck, install it on an old laptop and take it for a spin. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Do me a favor before you leave today. Please like the channel. Likes keep me in YouTube's algorithm, which means if you found the information in this video helpful, somebody else out there might as well. And subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. And if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. You also can become a member right here on YouTube for just 99 cents a month. But that's not all. We are also on Patreon, which you can become a member on at $2.99 a month, or Odyssey, which is $4 a month. You can also buy us a cup of coffee, maybe zip on over to PayPal and throw us a donation, or go over to Patreon and become a patron to the channel. All those links will be in the description below. As always, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.